Tervetuloa seuraamaan Kohtaamisia sarjaa. Olemme tällä kertaa Lapinlahden entisessä mielisairaalassa. Ja tällä kertaa minulla on vieraana Vesa Asikainen, joka on dokumenttiohjaaja sekä laajastikin mediatyöntekijä. Ja hänen taustassaan on laaja kokemus Koreasta ja ennen kaikkea korealaisesta shamanismista. Ja minkä takia? Johtuu varmasti siitä, että hän on naimisissa korealaisen tutkijan kanssa. Vesa, voitko itse valaista vähän enemmän tätä sun taustaasi, että mikä sai sinut tai millä lailla sinä löysit tiesi Koreaan?
No sydämen kautta niin kuin normaalistikin elämässä nämä asiat on mennyt. Viitaten tähän rakkauteeni korealaiseen naiseen tutkijaan, mutta myös sitä kautta virisi kiinnostus tietysti. Tämä korealainen shamanismi on minusta aika mielenkiintoinen aihe. Mä olen itse tehnyt tämmöisen reportaasin, dokumentin suomalaisesta shamanismista, joka nimi oli Shamanismin uusi aalto, joka oli nimenomaan tämmöistä suomalaista neoshamanismia tutki ja suomalaisten uutta virinnyttä kiinnostusta neoshamanismiin. Ja tavallaan sitä kautta myös omiin juuriin. Et meillähän Suomessa on aika lailla ihmiset kadottaneet nämä niin kuin tämän yhteyden juuriin. Ja vaikka sanotaan, että suomalaiset on hyvin lähellä luontoa ja näin, niin sekin on aika paljon niin kuin kadoksissa nykypäivänä Suomessa. Sitten kun sitä verrataan niin kuin Koreaan nimenomaan tästä shamanismivinkkelistä, niin on kiinnostavaa, että tämä Koreassa tämä shamanismi on siirtynyt sukupolvelta toiselle noin 4000 vuotta puhutaan. Tiedetään, että se on esiintynyt siellä jo noin 4000 vuotta. Ja se, että se on kaiken sen, se on hyvin pitkälti sen kansankulttuurin takana. Eli siitä on kehittynyt niin kuin erilaisia musiikin muotoja, laulu, teatteri, tanssi. Se on niin kuin hyvin monessa erilaisessa korealaisessa kansankulttuurissa taustalla. No, mielenkiintoistahan tietysti myös Suomessa on se, että shamanismi tavallaan meni jossain vaiheessa tänne taiteeseen. Tietysti lähtien näistä meidän suurista maalareista, Gallen Kallelasta ja muista, mutta myös nykytaiteeseen, sanotaan itse-taiteessa se on ollut vaikuttavana monissa teoksissa, monien tekijöiden taustalla, sitten myös niin kuin musiikissa. Eli se yhteys taiteeseen on Suomessa niin kuin tavallaan säilynyt. Mutta Koreassa tosiaan että puhutaan ydinshamanismista ja siitä, että korealainen shamanismi on kokenut hyvin erilaisia vaiheita. Sitä on välillä arvostettu enemmän, välillä se on ollut enemmän näiden muiden uskontojen tavallaan paineen alasena, esimerkiksi buddhalaisuuden, mutta se on kuitenkin säilynyt siellä ja voi hyvin nykyisin.
Yhdistikö tämä teitä sitten, että teillä kummallakin oli tämmöinen oma henkilökohtainen kulttuurikiinnostus omaan kulttuuriperimään ja shamanismiin? Yhdistikö tämänkö kautta te löysitte toisenne?
No, voisi sanoa, että ehkä me ollaan löydetty toisemme meditaatioleiriltä, meditaatiofestivaaleilta. Ja tietysti siinä on varmaan kummallakin taustalla se, että tämmöinen niin kuin omaan itseen tutustuminen, niin kuin omaan sisäiseen maailmaan meneminen ja sitä kautta itsen ja maailman ymmärtäminen, mikä meitä ehkä eniten on kuitenkin yhdistänyt. Ja ehkä sanotaan, että parisuhteessa, mitä mä koen, että mikä mulle on ainakin tärkeää, niin on se, että sitä voidaan käyttää niin kuin oman kasvun välineenä. Kumpikin voi käyttää sitä kasvun välineenä, eikä sitä tavallaan, ei aina vaan katsota, että sinä olet syyllinen, vaan niin kuin pystytään myös osoittamaan sitä sormea itseään. Mutta sitä kautta tietysti myös kiinnostus henkisiin asioihin on ollut se yhdistävä tekijä. Ja tämä shamanismi, koska hän tekee väitöskirjaa ja tutkimusta shamanismista, se on ollut meille kummallekin niin kuin tämmöinen läheinen aihe. Se voi sanoa, että se on tämmöisen tietynlaisen henkilökohtaisen kasvun sellainen tausta, juuri. Meillä pitää olla se juuri semmoinen, niin kuin, meidän pitää olla jalat maassa jossakin, että jostakin niin kuin ponnistetaan. Ja se shamanismi on mun mielestä sellainen niin ehkä suomalaisille kuin korealaisillekin, mistä on hyvä ponnistaa.
Voimmeko tässä vaiheessa kääntyä haastattelemaan vaimoasi ja ehkä voit minua auttaa sen verran, että kertoa hänen koko nimensä, koska tiedän, että hänen etunimensä on Hyanhee, mutta koko nimensä kuuluu
Hyanhee Leen.
Hyanhee Leen.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I don't know how much you understood what we were speaking about, but we were we heard a little bit about the Korean shamanism as well, and how it perhaps relates to Finnish shamanism or folk belief system. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what kind of shamanism exists in Korea today.
Today.
Yeah.
I think that we are not really much changed in the, of course, like the Siberian shamanism is like more like, village and not really much developed. And also like fishing and, like reindeers together. And then, of course, I think that we also kind of had these things, and then farming started, and then it's like the developed form like this. And then we have dynasties, like different dynasties.
Yeah.
And then nowadays form of Korean shamanism is just like very similar to the costumes is coming from the last dynasty, who has, which has like 500 years exist.
Yeah.
So, and then we don't have much neo-shamanism. Still have the continue this form of shamanism is coming, and using like this kind of costumes, like traditional Korean costumes, and also the time it was talking about Joseon dynasty costumes they're using. What can I say that?
But this shamanism is used for what? I have read that much that I understood that it is used for several different kinds of matters or problems or questions.
I think basically like same as Siberian shamanism, that when you face that problems which you cannot solve in this society, it can be like maybe like the medical problems. You have a sick, but you don't know the reason. Even though you go to see the doctor, then you should go to see the shaman. What's wrong with them?
Yeah.
They figure out that like it's kind of there are different kind of you just can consult with them. You can have a small rituals. You can have a big rituals. It depends on the reason that the shaman figures out.
And as I already mentioned, that it's rather widespread. Can you describe about that that a little bit more? That how widely it's spread? Is it in every society class, or do everybody use it?
I think probably all class.
All class.
Because that if you consult, and it's not really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk with them, then it's not really expensive. But it depends on the rituals, that big rituals, then you should
Mm-hmm.
pay a lot. So basically, that those who face the problems which you cannot solve, the religions, like for example, Buddhism, Christianity, and other things, also like the hospital, or then we go there and talk with the shaman.
What religions exist in Korea?
We have a 30% of Buddhism, I think 30% of Christianity, and no religion is like rest of them.
Okay.
But basically, shamanism is like 5,000 years history in Korea.
So is the shamanism actually intertwined in the society and in the belief systems as well?
Yeah, basically this is shamanism, and then first this much in the history, and then it's going down, 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 and still like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how it is accepted by authorities in the religions?
It's not accepted by the religion. That is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But the authorities, first, as I was talking about this time, very ancient times, shaman was a king until Silla dynasty.
All right.
Yes, they have power this much, and then Goryeo dynasty. Then it's going to little bit starting to the suppression because of Confucianism.
How big periods you're talking about the dynasty?
I think until 1,000 years. It's for 1,000 years around. It's quite strong. Strong power, shamanism, and then Goryeo dynasty. Then Buddhism was coming very strong. Dynasty took this Buddhism as religion. Buddha protect the country. Then, but still have many ceremonies is based on the shamanism, and sometimes shaman coming from the high class of the order can be a shaman at the time. But the problem is Confucianism. It's coming from the China, and then last dynasty that I'm talking about, Joseon dynasty, was main is Confucianism. Then they start to really suppress that this is superstition. You shouldn't believe. Shaman was outcast from the soul. They cannot live inside the soul. They are very strong. The dynasty authority was suppressed so much, and so shaman was should be go out, and then this social status was the lowest class that time. That's why we think that shaman was very low class. But so far, I'm talking about the shaman king, then it's going to the slaves level in the 500 years. And then Japanese period of time, and now Korea. So that's why they are a little bit, illiterated, and then they just learning from just oral traditions by their memory, but they cannot read. And so that's why until now, modern times, my parents' generation think, oh no, they cannot, read, and they just do a little bit superstitious. You shouldn't believe. They have really strong thinking. But now my generation start, I think, then they change a lot because of the internet and because of the Korean governments accept their performance as a traditional intangible cultural assets. We have a law that they make you have the special memory about the special area that you remember, the shaman remembers, then shaman can be intangible cultural asset, designate like this, so that people learn from the dances from this shaman, then teachers, students, like this. So we accept as for cultural aspect of shamanism, but still just basically think about a shaman. My mother, my parents' generation, think, oh, this is you shouldn't believe, superstitious, this kind of attitude. But now it's changing a lot in this generation, you know, internet generations think like really differently, I think.
I recall that you mentioned earlier about that in your close relationship, one of your ancestors or your aunts or father or grandfather was a shaman as well, was it?
I heard from the shaman that our bloodline is like they have some shaman lines or something. Yeah, yes.
But
like,
did you also mention that your sister or
cousin
yes was chosen as a one female shaman?
Yes, right.
And during that time as well, you had some special feeling about this as well, did you? Or did they approach you as well with this question, this kind of question, that if you were interested on becoming, or how is the shaman chosen?
If you have a sickness, like which you cannot solve in the hospitals, and then as I told you that like people face like this kind of problems, then they should, in the end, they go to see shaman. See that this is just like a possessions by these bad spirits, or this is like chosen by the as a shaman. So a shaman can tell that, oh, this is because of just you have a spirit possession, or you are chosen, you should be a shaman. They can decide it. So normally I heard that if you have this kind of sicknesses for a long time, average time is 8 years. You have a sick for 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, normally the shamans, Korean shamans average like 8 years sickness. They don't want to, they go to the church and they go to the doctor, see a doctor, and then cannot solve it, and they go to see a shaman. But at least you should see 3 shamans to ask if they should be a shaman. Then you can decide that, oh, I should be a shaman or not.
You cannot. Or you can.
I cannot decide by myself.
No, yes,
because in Korea, the how to be a shaman is that initiated by the shaman.
Yes.
Initiation is very important in Korea.
And how does this initiation happen? How?
Rituals, normally.
What kind of rituals?
Basically, you should be first, in this case, that person before be a shaman is a lot of possessions, by a lot of spirits. So first the shaman was like the cleanse, like purified the other, like small bad spirits, I think.
Yes.
So then she got the main spirit. She will shout, I got this spirit. And then shaman should be find their like shamanistic acumen, because normally the mother shaman, we say like mother shaman was like hiding some this fence and like this, and then no one knows where it is, but this shaman candidate should be found this where it is. They find it. They just run and they found this like fence, and their fence. They become their fence.
Okay.
And there's kind of like 2 days normally. It takes 2 days rituals for the initiation. A lot of things to do and a lot of fortunes also. That, for example, that there is like the bowls covered, and then this shaman candidate should be opened. And then this mother shaman will know that because there is a water, there is a money, there is a rice, there are different things. Then the mother will know, you will be like this kind of shaman, like water, like money. Then you will get a lot of money, like big shaman or like there is a meaning of the what she picks.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of fortunes tellings, and also normally that initiation ceremony was very interesting because she just got initiated and she was so clear, like just like got this, so the very clear, see the visions. So around, the people who are coming there, the initiation ceremony, then they really want to hear what she speaks to them. Mm-hmm. Like they will say, like, "Oh, you have some problems. This you should fix, or oh, you got a lot of money this year or something." That she has like a lot of fortune tellings. This new shaman.
Can I turn back to Vesa now and ask that, because Vesa has had the opportunity to watch this and observe this as an outsider. Have you seen things that what she describes, the events and the sort of healings of the shaman, or have you seen also the process of how the shaman has been chosen?
I have seen several kuts rituals and also documenting them. I haven't seen initiation yet, but what is actually how I see the initiation is like that this mother shaman is kind of introducing the new shaman for the spirits, like she is connecting them to this new shaman,
like guiding.
Right.
Guiding them in.
Right. And what is interesting also with Korean shamanism is that it's quite feminine. There is also male shamans called paksus, but majority of shamans are called mudangs. They are female shamans. And I tried to find out why is this, why they are mostly feminine. My own idea was that because, like Siberian and like a Sami shamanism, shaman goes to another world, like underworld or upper world, but he kind of goes somewhere and have his adventures there. In Korean shamanism, the spirit is coming, possessing shaman. So it needs kind of a receptivity. You have to be able to receive the spirit. So for feminine energy and for feminine, for female, it's maybe more easy. Well, I talked with the scholars also about this, and of course there is also these reasons that most of the customers are female. It's easier for them to talk about their problems with the female shaman. And what is also how I see the role of Korean shaman is that she's somewhere between a therapist, doctor, and a priest. Like when you have a problem, for example, somebody was telling me, one of the scholars was telling me that if a woman has a problem, her husband is going to another woman, having an affair. So you cannot go to talk with the Buddhist monk about this, or Christian priest, or a doctor cannot help you much. But you can go to the shaman, and you can, through the shaman, you can ask spirits to help or advise what you should do. So this way there is a place for a shaman. And also one thing is that why it has been surviving so long. Like shamanism has in Korea always like taking, like it has been adjusting to this situation, this society. Like for example now it's quite much online, it's in internet, the shamans have their own websites, and you can consult also through internet, and So same time it keeps its connection to this old 1,000 years old tradition, but at the same time it takes the new forms.
Thank you. Maybe, Hyanhee, you could tell a little bit more about this meaning of the female shamanism as the most important tradition and continuity of shamanism in Korea.
Why female shamans is so much in Korea?
Yes. Why is it so majority of the shamans are female?
Because I think that the religious reason, like as I told you, that this last dynasty was like Confucianism, and the male-dominated society. Man was so important, and we have rituals for ancestors. It's very important. Even nowadays, we do bow to the grandparents and ancestors more and more when it's special occasion for family gathering, twice in every year. But men always do it, everything. But that's why we have this area needed for females. Like, if your mother died, then I'm a only daughter, then I cannot do the ritual this because I'm not a man in that 500 years. So that's why you can go to shaman and you can have like special rituals for parents. You can do it as a woman. So I think that it's the same reason actually. The female, that time, I'm a woman, I'm married woman, I cannot be any man except for my husband or my family. So then only person that I can do, meet in a shaman, of course female. It's allowed in society. So that's why I think that a lot of Korean shamans are female.
So it balances the male and
yin and yang energy. Yes, it's exactly
yang.
like the Confucianism, this 500 years traditions. And maybe some reason like as Vesa already explained, the Siberian shamanism, you should go, you should adventure, you should have like animal spirits and you should go to the underworld or like, take the risk. But the Korean shamanism, you take the spirit inside your body. So
yes,
also probably like one reason that you acceptance, like femininity. So like men also really, really feminine. If you sit in the Korean male shaman, they're like really like a woman.
Can we talk a little bit about how this experiences of yours and your specialty study subjects, how they have changed you as a person? How have you transformed into more spiritual or close to these matters that you study?
For me, I think that I not much believed it like the world, that unseen world before, I think. But after studying about this, then I started to believe that the unseen world, there is something in the unseen world. Like I was like always like questioning, this is really happening? Like you got sick and then you got possessed by the spirits, and like it could be like ancestor spirits that telling you that always not like open. I heard like the shaman says like sometimes like they open and then spirit was saying something or feeling or visions they can see. But then I really started to believe that this is like right. Of course there is like a false, like fake shamans too, but basically this phenomenon is like true.
Have you experienced something with them as miraculous or strange or about the unseen world?
I have a dream, and I had a dream that it's a little bit related, I think. I also like questioning about it. This kind of, I don't believe this kind of things. I was thinking and I slept, and then when I somehow the dream makes me feel that it's like it's true. Yeah.
What about healing? Have the shamans healed you as personally in some ailment or?
I didn't go for this my own reasons, but I know the cases that, like for example, like you are possessed by the spirits, then you go to the shaman and there is rituals for this, and then completely okay after that. Yeah, I've just watched this kind of things happening.
How about Vesa? Have you been changed during this whole process of studying the shamanism as well as the Korean shamanism?
I think I'm changing all the time, I hope. So, but anyway, yeah, it has also taught me something, like first of all, this is an interesting idea that many of these new neo-shamanistic movement, like shamans, were actually scientists. Like they went to study and make a research about shamanism, and they became shamans themselves. So maybe one reason is that you cannot really study some phenomenon like shamanism or shamanhood, like Juha Pentikäinen was calling it, without really being like experiencing yourself. I think it's the same thing with the life, everything. You cannot learn life by reading a book or like looking, like staying outside kind of from the life, watching television. You cannot learn life. You have to go into it. You have to like experience, and you have to be involved. So I think it is the same thing with shamans. And with the Korean shamans, I met many kind of shamans. I saw also this, it's sometimes very money related. Like people go to, they want to earn more, and they are more interested with money things. Then also the spirits around shaman are different, and you can feel it if you are sensitive for this kind of things. Then there is very beautiful, pure shamans who really do it for helping people. So it's like in everything the same thing, but you can definitely learn from these Korean shamans as well as Finnish shamans, and this kind of one thing what Juha Pentikäinen also talked yesterday when we had a meeting with him was that this connection with the nature, how important it's for shaman, and like how you should be able to communicate with nature, with like birds and trees and whole nature, like kind of being connected. So I think this is a really important part of spiritualism, or like your growing, like you should be connected to this world, and especially nature, understand nature. So this is also one thing I think shamanism can teach for us.
Wonderful. In the beginning you mentioned that you actually met in the meditation retreat or seminar. How about meditation? Does it have any relationship to shamanism, or the practice of shamanism, or the process of going into trance? Or can you talk about this?
Yeah, I could say first, this is interesting thing also, that like Korean shaman, you cannot get shaman, you cannot be a shaman before you have experienced the problems yourself. You have to go in because you get some kind of sickness which has its own name in Korea.
Simpiang.
Yes, and then through that you have to learn to heal yourself first. Before that you cannot heal others. I think it's the same thing with the meditation. You have to go in first, and you have to like heal yourself from inside. So this way we talk about exactly the same thing with the meditation and shamanism.
Yeah, for me, like the shamans and normal people are divided, because neo-shamanism, probably we can be a shaman and we can be practiced, we can meditate, but the Korean shamanism is not neo-shamanism. So shaman and the ordinary people are different. But shaman, I mean, they do every day in very early morning go to the mountain, they pray. I think they should be very cleanse their mind, like meditate, of course, and praying and clear their mind. Then they can help, they can see, like connect to the spirit also more easily. So mountain is very important in Korea. That every morning they go.
What Vesa just mentioned about the connection to nature. Nature is very important, very essential in shamanism. But also in meditation, isn't it?
Yes. So that the shaman wants to go to these mountains, especially very famous spiritual, energy, that kind of a mountain they want to go.
Serene thoughts and sort of empty yourself from the old or conditioned and all that.
The funny thing is, Korean Christianity was influenced by the shamanism. So the priests also go to the very early. They have a special morning praying on the mountain. So they meet there together. I heard sometimes. Yeah.
But also in Finland, in older times, the Christianity was somewhat influenced by the old belief systems, and you find churches where there are symbols that come from the old tradition and old belief system that are sort of united into the same kind of thinking or beliefs.
Right. For example, Christianity was taking many old ancient days, what was celebrated by Finnish people, like Ugri people, and made them their own Christian celebrations. So it's said about Christianity that this is like how it also survived. It was taking from the religions or the belief systems many things, and part of Christianity, like this blood cult, blood ritual what Christianity has, taking Jesus, drinking Jesus' blood. It's coming from somewhere else. It's not, of course, coming from Jesus directly. One thing I just wanted to mention about also is that I remember when I started to, this time was talking about you should hear your own voice, you should look inside. And what you normally see inside when you start to look is often you see shit, you see not so nice things what you have to contact. And when you go inside, that's the problem, because you easily get depressed, you start to blame yourself, you start to feel bad with yourself. This kind of acceptivity of yourself as you are, and easiness, you should be playful with yourself when you start to look inside. Actually, Korean shamanism is also same time is very playful. The ritual is very playful. It's also interacting. The people, other people, they are part of.
Humor is part of.
Right, humor is important. I think it's an important part of spirituality, whatever kind of spirituality. And myself, I wouldn't believe anybody who is very serious, because seriousness is ego thing. It's your what less seriously you take yourself, that more spiritual I think you are, or it gives you a possibility to grow with yourself.
You're right. Like Korean performance, like just like we are just not watching just the shamans. Shaman was always, of course, like singing and dancing, but we also have a chance to have many fortunes. Like we have like 5 flags, then they turn like this and give it to you, and then you pick up the flags, and there is also meaning, like all colors, all different meanings, and then she will tell you, and many things that we can talk. We can laughing, we can cry, just very interacting, and it was very fun. I mean, I think this kind of a lot of like worries is just gone when you attend these kind of rituals.
And one thing what we saw in one ritual was like, for example, these spirits can be really funny. Like they can be like a very childish kind of spirits. One of them actually started to flirt with me, and it was very interesting because I saw that her real personality was a little bit different. It was assisting female young shaman, but then she started to like laugh with herself. I'm not normally like this. What happened? Like, and she was kind of interested in me, and then she came to talk. So I was flirting with the spirit. It was really fun.
So did that have some special meaning to you? Then did it open up into yourself something that was unknown before that?
Well, I'm still processing it. She gave me some advice, personal advice as well, but
for the future.
I'm still processing what it might mean.
Interesting.
Yes, the God possessions, and then as I told you before, that they can tell you that I can see you are moving. You should move. It is better for you. They give you like advice. For me, I got the advice that I should be very careful of me not falling in this winter. 2 shamans talking to me.
Right.
Yes, so I was really careful now, not falling in this winter.
Because of the slippery ice in Finland.
Maybe, yes.
They foresaw that.
Yeah, I mean, 2 different shamans, 2 different places. They told me that just be careful. So.
Nothing has happened yet?
Yeah, not yet. Because I'm very super now cautious about not falling.
Right. Shall we talk about a little bit about what shamanism might have as a gift to modern world way of living or thinking? Does shamanism have something special as for us to give in today's world?
I think that it's like little bit was talking about the healing aspect about the Korean, Korean shamanism, also other shamanism too. Like you can go to the therapy, of course, but therapists probably cannot understand, or they know about the theoretically, but not really hear from heart. But I think that shamans, they understand the pains, sufferings about the human beings, and then they really can give you healings to the what you are going through.
So are you saying that they have more thorough knowledge about a human being?
From heart, I think, not like the knowledge like here. And I think in of course the old times and now and probably the future, it will be very important, and shamanism will be forever in my perspective. Because they have this, and women need it, I think,
Well, I think when thinking about Korean shamanism is that like this unseen world, like spirits are part of it. It's accepted that they are part of it, and you can be in connection with them. Now in this case, shaman is a kind of therapist who has experienced herself and also she has advisors from the other side, so she's a kind of like intermediate with them. Like with the Western neo-shamanism, and like it's used as a one way to learn about yourself, like traveling inside and ask from the spirits, but I feel like maybe more this is you are asking from yourself. You travel also inside when you make a shamanistic trip. Because what is interesting also is that why this shamanism didn't survive in Finland. Like, okay, we have a neo-shamanism and we have beautiful shamans still here, but it's not like connection to the old shamanism. It's not being transmitted from the generation to generation. And I think Finland has always, and Finnish people have always had a little bit problem with really giving value for their own culture and their own like roots. We have our Kalevala, but how many people really read it? We know it, and we maybe need to read a little bit in school, but we are not really connected to this. We are not connected to our own folk culture. It's also coming. It's like a new, folk music is coming, and it's used in many popular like art and new art, modern art, and like this. But we don't have same way the connection like Koreans have, and I think from there also comes the respect for the shamanism, and like using is as one method in Korea. It's much more respected in Korea than here, and also same way their own roots, their own folk culture is they have a much more respect for that than we do.
But we know that how much the Finnish culture has drawn from our old traditions and old cultures, even though there has been this quality of forgetting it or not really practicing it, but still our very favorite and successful great artists have drawn much inspiration from old folk songs and folk poems and so on. Isn't it so as well that we are not supposed to only copy the old, but to reform it into future, and perhaps it will take new forms as well. Can you see this kind of development in Korea as well?
I just feel like this when you're talking about it, but I also think because like for example, like there are many spirits gods in which the shamans have, like for example 7 stars. But we think about 7 stars. They are pictures of 7 stars. Budang has all the pictures of what they have possessed, and then 7 stars not like a 7 stars. 7 stars as a people, 7 people who wears like clothes. So I think we developed probably the first form was probably stars, but then it's like human beings. So that now they are showing like this 7 women in their pictures. But also, when you're talking about it, I really want we also connect it to like this kind of more direct natural spirits. Maybe we already developed so far. We have a mountain god. There is like saying mountain god and tiger always in the picture, but not really mountain, because already developed like we just think about this old man who has a white beard and a tiger. So, but how about just really going back, like these things I think fascinating, more like the connection with the nature. I like it. I really like this Finnish culture. Yes.
Have you seen paintings of the old paintings of our national epic?
You mean like this national
like Gallela or
museum?
Museum,
yes, National Museum.
Yes.
I've seen it.
How do you feel that do they touch you? Do they have something to tell you?
Even Kalevala pictures. Yeah, I think very different. I didn't much feel it, something, but from the pictures, I'm not really much feeling. But stories like, yeah, there's a spirits, and I think it was nice. I was just thinking about I know, and I want to change it to a fish, and the scene was just coming to my mind.
Has Vesa been helping you in the Finnish folk stories and how to go into them?
Vesa was introduced about this sauna culture and what was it, like lulu and spirits, sauna spirits and things like that. And it's really nice to go to the water, like lake spirits. I mean, feeling of the energy of lake, and it was really fascinating. We will not do that in Korea. As I told you before, only special army will do it. To go into the ice holes and jump into the ice hole, swim there. But this is very, I mean, my experience was like really, really fascinating. Never had this kind of energy. I mean, feel this kind of energy in Korea. Very different. Maybe so many people in Korea, I think, on the mountain. You cannot have like a very quiet and like bird sounds and cold, lake feeling is really great.
How about you, Vesa? Have you been able to experience sort of deeply some kind of a spiritual connection when you have been observing the rituals or cultural ceremonies in Korea?
Yeah, making this documentary film about Korean and Finnish shamanism, it's been very interesting also to see the cultures and the differences with the culture. For example, this sauna culture, they also have in Korea own sauna culture, Chimchilbang. And we like to go. It's a little bit different, and it's like in Japan they have in Korea a little bit different culture. And what we have, when you talked about this, I also agree that our own roots, like the way what we have the wisdom from this ancient wisdom, like that it needs to be used according to our nowadays society and the situation where we live. But same time, if we think about sauna, for example, what is left in this electricity sauna when you put it on? The spiritual aspect of sauna has been lost so much in Finland, I would say. Like when you go to smoke sauna or wood warmed sauna, and when you go to old sauna, you can feel sauna tonttu and the sauna spirits and using of vasta. How therapeutic, how healing it's to use vasta. So the spiritual aspects can be easily lost, and just the habit is there. So we have to be also careful that we really keep the connection to the wisdom. We don't lose the wisdom on the way.
How have you been able to revive these spiritual aspects as in your daily life or in your practice?
I think only way is to be aware, and like of course you can learn from others, more wise people or whoever you can learn, but most important way for me is just to be aware, like how I feel, what is my heart saying about that, not just so much listening my mind, like my fears and like seeing the difference with the mind and heart. So for example, when we are staying in our summer place and we have very simple sauna, but it's a wooden sauna next to the lake, and we are just staying there also now. So it's just beautiful to be aware of what happens, like when you go to sauna, and to feel the spirits and feel because sauna it's also very shamanistic. It's been used for everything in Finland, for healing. You have been born in sauna, you have been dying in sauna. So it's really our own wisdom what we have. But one more thing I wanted to mention about with the Korea and Finland is that we have been both nations. We've been under, like Korea was under Japanese. They had Japanese colonistic time, and they were under China. So we have a quite similar background, and it can also, like when we have our independence, it can also like give more respect for our own culture, that we could survive and we could have still connection to our own culture. Mm. So I think with the Korean people it's also the same. We are very good together because we are not feeling like we are really on the top of the world. You know, that we are not so big ego people maybe. So we respect humbleness. This is a difference, for example, with the Americans. Koreans and Finnish don't like so much Americans because they are too much want to show themselves and being always right, and so in both cultures we are respecting humbleness and your you don't have to be so big always.
Is this something that you experience as well?
I also think so, yeah. Yes. I mean, same, like I also think, I mean, just like my study, comparative study, like compared to history, and we are like very similar situation. And that's why also we don't have much like pride about our own culture, like especially shamanism, as I told you, like many times, I mean, long time, like also Japanese thing, like this is superstition, like brainwashed us. So that's why, like, we are not really have like a dualism attitude to the shamanism. I hope that we also want to have respect more about our own culture, but it's getting better and better. Like national shamans coming, and they do like healing to the, you know, that we have a Korean War. So many North Korean people died in South Korea too, and national shaman will go there, and then rituals and sending the spirits to the heavens. This kind of things happening.
Healing the old wounds.
Yes. So that I think this getting better and better.
So I hear you speaking about the modern world's problems as well in your personal history, and also coming together as two different cultures. Is this? Do you see that there is like a new horizons seen in this kind of development that you are presenting as well in your personal relationship history and coming together?
Well, I'm not sure if I understood your question
yes.
exactly, but what I would say, like, it's always interesting to mix cultures, like, and you can see your own culture, and you can see the different culture. Always been very interested to learn about new culture, because it also shows you same time that what are you used to do and how you are used to see things. They might not be. You get a little bit different perspective, and like really being in the intimate relationship with someone gives you very good point of view to the other culture. Also, it's not always so easy. We have problems to understand each other because of the cultural difference, but it's also challenging same time, especially if you are ready to little bit look at yourself as well. But one thing more, what is interesting in the modern, because now when I was, for example, in Seoul and ceased from Seoul, so Seoul is only like 40 kilometers from North Korean border. So how they keep going their daily life, and when I was reading some news from the world, it looks like the war, nuclear war, it's just happening. Any day it can happen. And they have the cannons on the North Korean side, just like 40 kilometers from Seoul. So it can be like 5 minutes, whole Seoul is gone. And you are living there, like how long it's been continuing already like this. So you are living on the edge, kind of. But I was like, I have to say that I give a respect for South Korean people, that they really can take it. They can live their daily life day by day. You have to live by day because you don't know if tomorrow is coming when you are living in this kind of situation. But still, you live just day by day, and don't let it like disturb your normal life. I was sometimes disturbed. I was feeling afraid, and I need to go to Jeju Island because I'm not used to it. It's the same thing if we think that there is a Russian cannons on the border and ready to attack whatever moment, but they are used to it. I was not.
Yes, we are just always like, oh, it's nothing happening. It's okay, no problem.
Isn't that sort of in shamanism as well? You have to practice all kinds of things. For instance, you have to learn to walk on the edge. So
yeah.
Maybe you have a good practice there, that the whole nation is sort of introduced into this kind of a challenge and grow with it.
Yeah, right. It's of course it's same thing with when I could relax, when I accepted that there might be no tomorrow. Many wise people say there is no tomorrow. So exactly. Like live this today and enjoy it. Maybe there is no soul tomorrow, or I mean the town might be destroyed tomorrow, and I might be destroyed with the town.
I think we are, as a people of the world, we are actually facing this kind of a question all the time, or not all the time, but once in a while we think that how long we will last. And there are aboriginal belief systems and prophecies that tell, or spiritual prophecies that tell that there is no future because of this and that. And there are all kinds of prophecies that tell that the world will end. So the possibility is there. So we have to face this kind of fact that life has limits. And maybe it's part of the wisdom of becoming a really human being, or adult, spiritually adult.
Right, world is changing so fast nowadays, and nobody knows the future, and we are facing so big problems with the world and with environment. Climate is changing and there is wars everywhere. So we need just to live this moment and this today and enjoy it.
And do your best. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for this interview.
Thank you.
And thank you for you as watching. See you next time.